Good morning and welcome from sunny Queensland. Today here is a Saturday, so we're doing this clip on the weekend. I just wanted to talk about a few of the bits and pieces that you can have in an FJ Holden. And during the course of the last few clips, I talked about a Wybrock fan. Now this one was a 6-volt, and I talked about the fact that I'd only seen 4 of them. They were a push-on fitting. You could get the fan blades in different colours. They're very harmless, and that's actually a safety feature that they talk about. It's very soft. And so I've seen a white blade. My last car had a green blade, and this one's a blue blade. But the car I'm putting together now is green, and I wanted to have a few different red bits and pieces on it. But I had originally thought about, going 12-volt first, but the stock part of me won the battle, so that I'm definitely doing 6-volt. So I'm going to need my correct Wybrock fan. But this one I bought it because it was red. I thought it would fit really well. It is 12 volts, but it's different to the 6-volt one from the perspective of the body of the motors look pretty much the same. They're both made by, that's Wybrock, this one's Wybrock. That one's labelled as 12 volts, this one's labelled as 6, so that's fine. The 6-volt is an A406 and the 12-volt is an A405, so not much difference there, really nothing in the body. But one of the things that is different is, well, there's two actually. First of all, the settings here for the 12-volt, the switching's here. So you've got an off, a low speed, and a higher speed, whereas you don't have any of that on the 6-volt model. I particularly like the base of this one because it's got the mould of the FJ dash that sort of comes down on a slight curve, whereas the one for the 6-volt is very flat. It'll be a case of this goes over the bottom as a base, and then there's a locking piece that goes in here that actually keeps it locked into place, and then that is screwed to the dash. And then obviously, you're drilling a hole in the dash, putting a grommet in the dashboard, slipping the wires through, putting a inline fuse in place, and then connecting it to the power source. And on an FJ and FX Holden for that matter, power sources, you'll find the ignition switch, and also at the back of the light switch where you're able to take off power. But importantly, if you're putting an appliance onto your electrical system, put an inline fuse in there for a little bit of safety. And if I can quote my dear old dad, make sure you use a grommet. Because when I bought my FJ Holden, it didn't have any grommets in the subframe or where the apron panels are, and I heard about it as a 17-year-old kid until I put grommets in there. So that's a bit of homage to my dad. So I wanted to also mention the fact that the difference with these fans too is a 12-volt one has a different configuration with the shaft that comes out from the motor compared to the 6-volt. Now the 6-volt one, it just was a slip-on. It's got a little clip on there, and it's just push on, push off. Whereas the one for the 12-volt, it's got a little screw configuration, so you'd actually have to undo this. So I would expect the shaft to be tapped with an internal thread, and then you just screw that little fastener in there, and that's what keeps it in place, and away it goes. But look, it's a matter of getting the word out there for what these are, so that enthusiasts can go to a swap meet, or they can use the trading websites and see what people have got and know straight away, oh, I know what that is, I've seen that, or I've seen one of those. And then this has become available, so they're able to grab one too and enjoy the function that it brings. And also, these things make motoring much more pleasant, which is why I like them. Now, the other thing I wanted to talk to is standard equipment on a special sedan However, you could buy them and install them on other models. And these are the armrests. So these armrests as such would go onto the door card. They'd be screwed onto the door card. There's 2 screws here. Now the screws that we used here on a special were quite thick, and they had a really coarse thread. Now it just so happens that Rare Spares have the screws. Now they have 2 types. They have a short and a long. So I would be taking your door handles if you've got one and you need the fasteners for it into them to see which length that you actually need. But these are really good. You're driving along, your arm's there or on the window. But look, I think it's a terrific little thing to have for your car. It just sort of brightens things up a little bit. I saw these were available, and they're so difficult to come by. And when you see them, they go for decent money for the seller. So I just thought, well, I'll grab these while I could, because I've got the panel wagon, so I only need 2. It's not like I need more. But they were only in the fronts, and I just want to do as much as I possibly can to sort of brighten the interior and the exterior of the car up. But look, talking about the interior, one of the things that I had as an accessory on both my Nasco panel van and my ute was this, it's an accelerator sleeve. So what it does, it's similar and it was a genuine accessory in the Holden era. It's similar styling to the floor mat of the FX and the FJ. So you can see that in the pattern that's used. So it's just a nice big round pad. It certainly makes the accelerator look brand new, and so it's a matter of that slips straight over the accelerator, and then it's sitting like so for the rest of its days. It looks flash. It is functional from the perspective of this pad protects your floor mat. So if you've got a rubber floor mat, the heel of your shoe would be here, and so you're depressing on the accelerator pedal all the time. The point of the fulcrum is here. So I know on my domestic car, I've worn a hole in my carpet floor mat where my foot has rested and been with all the driving that I've done. So look, I think this is a really good piece to actually protect your floor mat. Now these are available from Rare Spares, which is where I bought this from. I'm giving it a plug for no reason other than just to tell people where it is. The original ones I bought, I was able to get them new old stock, but that was in the 80s and you could get anything. So, now in 2019, it's a lot harder to get things from the perspective of, you don't go to a swap meet and there's just a myriad of parts and accessories that are available because they've cleared out a Holden dealership from Cootamundra or, Nowra or wherever. So these things are being reproduced, and it just makes it easier as far as you to be able to drive your car. Now, if I can for a moment, I've got a little bit left as far as time goes. Now, the special was a black accent trim with the choke and the light and the glove box button and also the window winders, whereas all of the other models had the white buttons and knobs. Whereas if they didn't have a sun visor and they were left outside, over time there would be cracking in it, and like for instance the one in my car at the moment that's in the garage, the choke knob on it isn't very good. And so what I've been able to do is there's a Brisbane company, and I'll just give you their name. It's Vintage and Classic Reproductions, And I was able to go there and I saw them at a swap meet up at Toowoomba, which is the biggest one in Queensland. And I could buy brand new a reproduction of the choke. Now it's a little bit hard to see, but these have a hole in the back. So, and I'll show the others. So that's the choke. This is the for the light switch. So you can see the hole there for where the shaft goes into. And this is the easy one of the light. This is for the glove box button. So I'll just be switching that out from the black one that they've put in mine for whatever reason, I don't know. I'll talk to Mr. Turnbull one day about it to say, when you had the FJ, did it have the black bits, black knobs on the dashboard? And Mark can tell me yes or no. But you know, these are really good that people are taking the time, effort, and energy to actually do this. I remember when I did my first restore, you know, I was just lucky enough to walk into Classic Holden Spares, and John Rayner was there, and he just said, "I've been waiting for you. I've got some things for you," and he had for me a brand new choke, brand new headlight button, and also a brand new glove box button as well. So I was very lucky, but that was only from, you know, being a good customer and having good relationships. And as he has told me in more recent times, you know, you blokes weren't customers to us. You bought so much stuff off us, and you were in there all the time. We actually did our shopping for you. You know, you folks weren't clients, you were family. So that just gives you a bit of an idea, and also a couple of things to talk about and also to think about. So we've talked about the fans today. We've talked about the armrests, and also the sleeve that goes over the accelerator pad. And I've also told you where to go to be able to refurbish your choke and light switch, and also your glove box button. But you know, this one here itself, you know, it's in need of a clean up as far as an original one's concerned. You know, we'll get into this with the wire wheel and clean all of that up. Then the outer cable can go for a you know, cadmium or bright zinc, whatever they've got these days, or we might actually do it ourselves, because there's plenty of information now that's available on that wonderful encyclopedia of the world called YouTube, which tells you how to do things. So I hope you've enjoyed the bits and pieces that we've showed you on this clip. If you liked it, give us a thumbs up, and also you're very welcome to subscribe. We'll be doing a few more accessories and parts, but also some handy hints. And as we branch out a little bit more, we'll also be you know, going to car shows and Cars and Coffee and things like that, and having a bit of a snoop around cars as far as what other people are doing and what they've got and all those sorts of things. So I think it's, you know, important to get those messages out there. But anyway, from Brisbane, I'm going to enjoy the rest of the nice weekend that we're having here. So you folks take care, and we'll see you another time on FJ Holden Jive Talking. Thank you.